is this a long-term profession? It can be if you want it to be. Yeah. If you love it and if you can keep pivoting and growing.
Social media has been a game changer.
Of course, I think today you can put a look together, you'll post it, someone will send it to their friend.
None of these celebrities now have one stylist.
When someone else comes on and they bring something new to the table, that's also interesting and it's exciting.
But I think if you take away the phone and Instagram,
Oh God.
and social media,
Yeah.
I think that's half the business gone.
I mean, I would say that if Instagram got taken away, we're living in a world where instead of Instagram now there'll be something else.
What would the range be of revenue?
It could range anywhere between 8 to 10 to 40
Lakhs.
Yeah.
What is the highest you earn in a month ever?
Oh God, I don't know if I want to put that on record.
Come on, you can do it. Just so that it inspires others as well. 45, 50 in a month.
Something like that.
That's pretty damn good. Tanya, this is such fun. I already know it's going to be a brilliant interview.
Thank you.
Where are you for journey? How long have you been in this styling industry?
Wow, I think it's about 16, 17 years now.
Yeah, I started when I was very young.
I'm at 38.
What?
Yeah, I just turned 38 in October. And I started when I was like 21.
Yeah.
I started like assisting and worked on like movies and then got into like personal styling. But it's been a while. It's been a few years.
So, you've come a long way. The industry has come a long way and styling has come a long way. Right? In terms of the avenues offered, the kind of celebrity styling that is now, and social media.
Yeah, of course.
So, what would you say are the two major differences that you see from when you started in styling to now?
I think when I started in styling, honestly, there weren't that many stylists then. Of course, there was Anita Shroff, as you know, still legend. Yeah, legend, as always relevant, etc. But at that time, there were very few stylists. There was, of course, Amit Patel, who was working, if I'm not mistaken, for L'Officiel when I was like younger. I was in my early 20s. There were a couple of stylists, when I was working with a bunch of them as well. They were also, some of them were doing fashion, some of them were kind of doing, movie-related stuff and ads and all of that. But there were a handful of them,
Yeah.
And I think that's changed today. Today, there are so many avenues in styling, There's OTT, there's movie, there's editorial, there's red carpet personal, there are just personal styling. Like if you're not doing non-celebrity stuff, there are so many personal shoppers, personal stylists today. So I think this is an industry, it's boomed over the last like 10, 15 years,
Yeah.
And it was all, globally, it was always there. But I feel like the last maybe decade or a little bit more than that, it's really, really come also. Yeah.
And also, of course, social media has been a game changer. Because every time someone leaves the house,
Yeah.
whether it's you or someone you're styling, it's kind of a fashion statement.
Yes, of course. I think today it's kind of become everyone's runway, right? Like you can put a look together, you'll post it, someone will send it to their friend, or you'll tag the designers, etc. It's like, I feel like it's become your own personal styling portfolio. You know what I mean?
It's actually become quite democratic.
Yes, yeah.
If you 100%, in a sense, it's a democracy now, fashion.
You can express yourself however you feel like you should be expressing yourself.
And if you connect with your social media audience, for example,
Yeah,
you can be someone who's come out of nowhere.
100%.
And we've seen that even in Cannes and stuff like that. Where,
I mean, even today with influence. Oh, yeah, sorry to cut you. That is the connect that probably a Masudina Wala has, felt with the audience, or for that matter, even a Deepak Hosia, who was Indian girl, went to Amsterdam, met a Danish guy, but she has a strong connect with her Indian audience because her mom and her lineage, etc. So I just feel like, and there are loads of many more examples, even Pusha or Niharika, and they've all done flourishingly well because of that connect, with their audience, that they built it. And today, I always say this, whether it's for actors, whether it's for influencers, community building is a very important, even for a brand, community building is what eventually gets you. That is what turns into conversions, you know.
Absolutely. And that's what you've built even with your Dhoom Dham weddings, etc. And we come to that.
Yes.
You started with Sonam?
I started with Sonam. She was my first celebrity that I started.
And then you went on to Kareena and you did Katrina. And
Yeah, exactly. So I started styling Sonam. Back in the day when I first started, I even styled Aishwarya. Wow, this is like 15 years ago. And then I worked with Katrina Kaif, Kareena Kapoor, Karishma Kapoor, Sri Devi. Actually, I would style Sri Devi when Janvi and Khushi were kids, you know.
Good.
So I used to work with them when they were literally kids, and they would be like, "Mama, don't wear this. Mama, wear this." They were adorable, you know. And now I see both of them and I style them, so it's quite a
that's really
full circle.
Yeah. But you know, with Kareena,
Yes.
you started a few years ago, and with age, maturity, confidence,
Yeah.
and womanhood, she's evolved so as her fashion.
Yes.
So how have you changed your approach?
You know, I think Bebo is someone who is super confident. Yeah. She knows herself. She's also ever evolving, which is very interesting because I've seen her change from when before she got married. I saw Saif and her. I was at the wedding. Then I saw her have her 2 kids, and she's just so confident and she's so sure of herself that she's a very empowered woman, you know. So I feel that she's been very accepting to change, you know. And when that happens, then it's so much easier to collaborate with someone like that creatively, you know. She was always owning whatever phase she wasn't like. So she was like, let's own it. And let's dress for this part. I want to dress for the part. You know what I mean? The part where I'm the mom, the part where I was just married, so I had to look. But she was always her own person. So I feel like she's also very trusting. Like, not just with me, with all the other stylists she works with. She's very trusting of a creative person. So she'd be like, listen, you know your job, I know my job. Let's figure out a way together. I'll tell you if I'm not comfortable with something, but I'm going to leave it to you because I'm hiring you for a reason, you know?
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. She's actually a dream to work with because she is not only is she beautiful, but she really lets you do your work.
And you feel like you've evolved with her in terms of like, do you now give her a more sleek, power dressing kind of vibe?
I think she has a way of, I don't think too much of maximalism is her style. Like, I think I always tell her that she's like the Julia Roberts or the Kate Blanchett for India, you know?
Or actually a pretty good comparison.
Yeah, because she's very elegant and chic and minimal, and you know, she always make it interesting, so she won't it'll never be boring, you know? She doesn't want to be boring, but she wants it to be Kareena, you know? She's not trying to be anyone else.
Yeah.
And I think,
And that really comes through.
exactly.
So even Katrina, I mean, she's also older now. Still all very beautiful women and inspirational because they're not just acting, they do so
Katrina, actually, her style has evolved a lot over the years. You know, from when I started working before to even today, it's completely different, you know?
Yeah. So of all the celebrities you've worked with, who gives the most input into what she's going to wear? Who's the most sort of interesting? I wouldn't say finicky, but sort of really at it with every look and sort of going at it with you.
I think Khushi among the younger girls. I think Khushi because she's so young.
Yeah.
She's also someone who's got a very unique style. She's got a little bit of her mom's like attention to detail. She's got a very she's very fashion forward in her thinking, and I feel she's very interested in her looks right now, you know?
Yeah.
She's also young, of course, and she's just about starting her career. So she's very interested in putting a look together. So whether it's her nails, her hair and makeup, bag, jewelry, she's interested in every single element, you know? She looks into all of it.
And the older lot?
Older lot in terms of,
like Katrina, Kareena.
I think Kiara.
Oh.
Yeah, Kiara. She's very interested and she's very interested in using new designers, and she always tell me like, let's look for something unique. Like she wants it to be. And I think actually not just me working with her, there have been lots of instances when I've worked with other people where she's like, you know what, you put in more thought into this look. I can see it, there's more detailing in this look. So she likes that, and I feel like when I work with her, I'm also pushing myself a little bit because I know how she likes detailing. So I'm like, okay, with her, I have to be even more
Detail oriented.
enthusiastic.
But okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So, but none of these celebrities now have one stylist. It's become pretty. Everyone's kind of working with everyone, which must have not been the case when you started.
No, when I started, everyone had their one or two stylists, and we would work with the same clients for like many years, together. But you know what? When I remember for a very long time, I was like, oh, I don't know, people don't have loyalty. But the truth is that even I am working with a lot of people. And so the actors are also working with a lot of people. Everyone's working with everybody. I don't think it's a bad thing now that I think about it, because I do feel that sometimes when you're working with one person and that same person is styling you again and again and again, you can do amazing work because you've understood each other. But suddenly when someone else comes on and they bring something new to the table, that's also interesting and it's exciting, So I feel it's not a bad time. I don't look at it badly. I'm looking at it positively, that everyone gets to work with everyone.
But did it ever lend a little bit of insecurity? I mean, when war started happening, right?
100%. Listen, I'm in my late 30s now, so I feel very differently. And I don't have any place for like any insecurity in my life. I feel like all the work that comes to me, I need to put in 100% and do it to my best ability. Of course, in my late 20s or early 30s, I would have times where I was working with someone, then they started working with someone else. And I had moments of insecurity, of fear of losing work or not being able to do what I do, But I think all that kind of starts to leave you.
But you also have Canvas now, which is quite overwhelming, right? Like, everyone has access to international designers. Designers all over India. It's a whole revolution that's taking place. And while there's more accessibility, I can imagine sometimes it's overwhelming when you have to create a mood board. Right?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's why they tell you, I know for a fact that I will do my best work when I have the this time to put things together. It's a creative process. I can't do it in 1 or 2 days. It doesn't happen. I need the time to sink in what I'm doing, put a mood board together, think about it, look for amazing designers, whether it's in India or whether it's outside of India. I need the time to put things together, and I need the time to look, to research, It's a very research-based job.
Which is amazing. Yeah, that's what it's become now. Is that also because the numbers have gone up so much in terms of budgets, social media,
everything? Like, just see the access now today when I'm posting a look. It's on my page, but it's on the actor's page. It's getting circulated all over the internet because it's on 100 other pages that people are picking up and posting and tagging the brands. It's on the brands pages, so you know what I mean? Like, it's everywhere. Few million people would see that one, are consuming that post, So I feel that because of that, there are many more designers today, and there are many more design houses, there are many more PR agencies that are repping design houses. It's just growing and growing and growing every year.
Yeah. But I think if you take away the phone and Instagram, and social media, I think that's half the business gone.
Yeah.
Would that be accurate, you think? Half the business gone? Because even brands
totally half, I would say. I mean, today, if I was taken, I would say that if Instagram got taken away, we're living in a world where instead of Instagram, now there'll be something else. You know what I mean? Of course. Also, but I'm just saying that the accessibility that we have, it's a massive part of the work that we create.
Yeah.
It's and the business.
It's symbiotic almost. One can't exist without the other at the moment.
But as far as celebrities go,
They're doing a lot of international tie-ups as well, brands, yeah, and otherwise. That must be opening up a lot of work as well.
What it has opened up is the idea of India's on the map, right? Yeah. I remember when NMEC happened, a lot of the Hollywood celebrities and the celebrities in India were walking a red carpet, and I was talking to someone who told me that India's having a moment right now. All important events are happening in India. Everyone wants to come to India. There are so many concerts happening this month. Celebrities all over the world, singers or artists, they all come in India to perform,
And a lot of them are wearing Indian brands.
Exactly. Ekta Rakya, Beyonce, 100%. Jabal Mishra, Falguni and Shane, and etc. So, obviously, it's amazing to see these designers, being represented by whether it's Indians or non-Indians all over the world on a world stage, It's amazing, and I think it's only going to get bigger.
So tell me, you have 6-7 things you do, right? Like your red carpet,
Yes.
your brand collaborations, your promotions for movies.
Yes. Yeah. There's press junket, there's red carpet, there's collaborations with brands, ad campaigns, print campaign.
When you say collaborations with brands, you mean celebrity collaborations?
Celebrity collaborations with brands which I style. And then sometimes there are brand collaborations that I do on my page as well. And then there's Doom Dam, and there's personal styling. And then there's, I'm styling, next year I'm starting to style brides as well. And Bezos, what a
Market that is.
Yeah, exactly. So
why do you make the most money out of all this?
Wow, I think it's a bit divided. But I would say between personal styling and celebrity styling. Like celebrity styling is the big campaigns that I do with celebrities. So ad campaigns, brand-related campaigns, and personal styling, which is I have my personal clients, HNIs that I style. Yeah.
So HNIs means people living abroad, or even...
It could be people living abroad. It could be people that are in India that may not want to be known that they're getting styled where they are,
And everyone wants to up their game now.
Of course, everyone wants to look good. It's simple. And also they want somebody to get the work done, which is like just, imagine if you were to wake up every morning and somebody is putting a wardrobe together and you don't have to think, and you can just wear what they put together and leave the room and you're going to look good.
Stylist of your stature, which is very senior.
Yeah.
Let's say a single red carpet event, okay? Right up to, let's say, promotions for a month.
Yeah.
Okay? What would the range be of revenue?
Interesting. You know what? It's changing. Yes, ever changing. Because it depends. Like before COVID, the atmosphere was very different. Post COVID, a year after COVID, it's been different. It's changing. You know what I mean? So there isn't an exact number. I would say somebody of my level, it could range. I'm going to give you the lower and the upper.
Yeah.
It could range anywhere between 8 to 10 to 40 lakhs. Yeah.
And this would be for the whole gamut of events that you do.
Exactly.
Right from brand collaborations, single red carpet appearance.
Everything. I'm saying everything. It could be, but it can be lesser also.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
What is the highest you earn in a month ever?
Oh God, I don't know if I want to put that on record.
Come on, you can do it. Just so that it inspires others as well to take this sort of journey if they want to. Give me a range.
Highest. To be like the higher range that I just spoke about, probably 45, 50 in a month, something like that.
That's pretty damn good.
That not every month is like that, well, but yeah.
But that would be the highest
Would
range.
be the highest limit of like on an insanely good month. Yeah, it can be. Yeah.
But you must have ups and downs as well. Now less downs, I would imagine, because for someone like you, there's always work. It may not be work that you love, necessarily every time.
Yeah.
You may not be like hand-picking,
Yeah.
because of the competition out there.
Yeah, correct. But yeah, I mean, of course, there are ups and downs. Like I said, like there could be a couple of months where you're not that, you're not getting that much work. You're a freelancer, You're trying to figure out and hustling every day to make sure that you get the work that you want to do. There's a lot of times I get work that I want to do. I mean, to get work, but I don't necessarily feel like it's right for my career at this point, you know. So even for money, I'll say no to it, you know. So what do you enjoy the most? I enjoy creating for like red carpets. It's one of my favorite things. Yes, for sure, because it's something that I feel that I'm good at as well, and I feel that I am now starting to get very interested in the last couple of years in like creating something very unique for brand campaigns. Like that means that you start working with the brand. Not all the brands allow you to do that, but start working with the brand in from like the nascent stage, you know, where you create something interesting for them that they've also not up for.
Like a strategy that you're part of.
Exactly.
Who are the brands that are out there right now, like the top spenders?
I think beauty. Yeah, beauty, skincare. I think is really booming right now. So I think they are definitely spending money to create amazing content and amazing gram campaigns. Yeah.
As an influencer yourself, you also charge a brand for putting them on your page.
Yeah.
So you do that also.
Of course. Yeah. Okay. I do that as well.
Give me 3 looks that you think are your creative best.
Interesting. I feel like definitely I have done one look with Karina which always pops up in my head long time back. I think it was the India Conclave event, and she wore a beautiful Devarnal sari with a Christian Lacroix jacket and an Amrapali necklace. And I remember doing a TEDx talk and I spoke about this look as well. Yes, I love it. It's one of my favorites. Yeah. And then the first time I put Karina in a beautiful Masawa sari. It's the first time she wore Masawa, and I feel like she looks spectacular. And I think a few of the looks that I've done that's pretty dark, because I feel like it was on a world stage and I got to work with brands from all over the world. You know, I got to work with Atelier Versace to put a custom look together for her, which doesn't happen because I'm sure they style a few people in India, but you know, to do a custom look for someone, like you're working with the design house.
Yeah.
So I think that was really interesting as well.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
What are some of the most pricey looks you've put out there?
I think all my looks with Katrina and Frida. Because Katrina is also someone like, she likes to wear really beautiful clothes that are, you know, amazing brands, and she likes luxury. She loves good luxury brands. Of course, she loves wearing a lot of Indian as well. So she do her made in India, beautiful like everyday Indian clothes as well. She's obsessed with that. But I know that she likes good quality, good fits, you know. So I think Katrina, and then Frida, of course, because I've worked with a lot of brands internationally with her.
What are your favorite international brands right now?
All-time favorite YSL, for sure. The Row. I love The Row. I just think it's just quiet luxury at best.
So you do like the more quieter...
But that is style. Yeah. That is my style as well.
But isn't that the style of the world now? Quiet luxury?
It's been the style of the world now. It's been my my style in terms of what I like and don't like for many years now. Yeah.
No, but is there luxury fatigue? Means why celebrities also now are not wanting to just scream brand?
It's all, there is just too much option. Today, if you're getting a mid-level luxury brand, okay, which there are octane amounts right now that are giving you quality, that are giving you product, that are giving you longevity and sustainability to keep the product and wear it for a long time. Why will you spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars more if I can find something really amazing for like $500, $700, $800? Why will I spend $5,000 on it, you know?
Yeah.
So the thing is, there's just a lot more option, and which has obviously created a market that's super competitive right now. No?
Yeah. So now this Ambani Valley, all stylists must have just had an amazing 3-4 months, right?
Yeah, of course.
How did you benefit?
I was styling a lot of actors, of like personal clients, and all the affluent people in this country were at the wedding.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to look fun, because for me it was like playing dress up, putting people in amazing.
Must have had one of your big months those months.
No, not the wedding. Yeah, definitely, because if you're working with the family, that's a different thing. But it still comes when you're styling actors for personal stuff. It still comes in a personal styling. So that
When a brand is paying, it's a very different.
it's a very different scenario.
Correct.
Yeah. So it depends. But yeah, I mean, it was still amazing. And I had a really good time, and we worked with lots of actors. My team was really busy. It was a very busy time as well. And I feel like December is kind of very chill right now.
What is a look that you would say has gone, I guess the term is viral, that you've done? Some of your most
Interesting.
It may differ from what you've loved the most.
Yeah.
But stuff that's taken
That
by
is the
surprise.
day
That's
just I did a very simple Emporio Armani runway gown with Karina for IFA. It was like many years ago. Very simple black, clutch neck gown, and very sleek. She had a very sleek hair, no jewelry, nothing. It was so simple. And I think we put it together last minute or whatever, something like that, because we didn't know she was going to go, and it just was, I think it was like everywhere then.
Really?
Yeah. So I think it's just how she carried it up, And I think sometimes with Bebo, I've seen that, I put a look together and she just plays it off,
Yeah. She's got that sort of vibe.
Yeah.
And exactly. And aura.
100%.
That just sort of says, I really
what you think of me. I mean, I love
I think of and I'm that's Lux.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm walking, talking Lux. Even in dhoti pants and a
Exactly.
loose cotton t-shirt. There's no question.
She can do either. And I always tell Bebo,
I love that.
Yeah, I always tell Bebo, I'm like, if anyone knew if they came to your house, you are only in kaftan. They're probably the same kaftan,
Yeah. So what do you love about your job?
Is it a year to work?
And is this a long-term profession? Is styling a long-term?
It can be if you want it to be.
Yeah.
If you love it and if you can keep pivoting and growing.
Yeah.
If I'm going to get stuck and I don't work, I only getting stuck with a certain amount of people, and I'm not growing and I'm not working with different people. Probably for me, even younger people, you know what I mean? Opening my mind up, understanding what's really working. The world has changed. It's not going to be the way it was when I was in my 20s. So it can be a long-term career. Depends on how long you want to work, how long you want to do this. So, it's a personal thing. Yeah, honestly. We do the trunk show, and I think the idea is to keep growing it, to go to more cities, to reach more people, to take the designers from India to many, many more people. And then obviously create something. We will do other things as well besides the trunk shows at some point. Yeah. Within the same hemisphere of fashion and
Creative entrepreneurship.
exactly.
But so how many vendors now are you up to in your shows?
Oh wow. Oh, I mean, I would say collectively for the 6 cities,
Yeah.
500 maybe.
Wow.
Yeah, 400-500 for sure, because every city has different designers, right? So Bombay will have a bunch of different designers. There might be some repeats in Delhi, but there'll be a whole new bunch. Dubai will have completely different designers. So yeah, so I think, and I'm saying 400-500 just in 1 year. We've done the show for 8 years. So it's been repeats.
Yeah.
And there have been loads of new designers every year,
Essentially, you rent out the space.
They rent out I rent out the space.
And the designers will come and they'll, whatever, either give you a show rent or they give you a commission or whatever it is.
Exactly.
And it's mainly sort of centered around weddings, like family.
Yes, around festive holiday, the holiday season. So it will be for anyone going for a wedding, for anyone for Rakhi, for Diwali, for all. I mean, India is celebrating from July till December, So half the year we're celebrating.
Yeah.
So I think, it's a lot of that.
Who are your favorite designers in India? Now that's going to be a very tough one for you, I know. Because you have to make everyone happy and you can't say one or two. I'm sure you have a couple of favorites.
Yeah. I mean, my all-time favorite is always going to be Anamika.
Yeah.
She's someone I've done so much work with, and I've done a lot of my amazing work with her. So I love Anamika. I love Anila, AKOK.
These are the earrings.
Oh, this is cute. Yeah. But of course, there are lots of other really amazing designers. I love Raw Mango, obsessed with Raw Mango. Sadhya Gargir is a genius there, you know. There is Kanika Goyal, Chief Kapoor, Rahul Mishra.
So all these exciting, younger, yeah, it's a lot of fun to work with them.
Sapya, I always say, and Pernia and me always discuss this, not only is he a designer and who will make beautiful clothes, he's also an incredible stylist. You know, it's about how he presents the looks on Instagram, you know. He barely ever does runway shows because he really doesn't need to, you know. It's like his vision coming to life on Instagram. It's like you're watching a movie, you know. It's like that. That's how his visual representation of his clothes is, you know. It's like storytelling. He's an incredible stylist and he'll put the looks together. He doesn't need anyone. It's going to be like his hair and makeup and, you know, the way he uses his fabrics, color combinations, jewelry. It's so fascinating.
They do with the money.
I have been always very particular. Honestly, from when I was very young, in my early 20s, I always saved, you know. I always say that you divide your money into, you know, you have a portfolio manager that's taking care of equity and debt. You know, you put some money in property, some money in gold, a little bit, a very small percentage if you understand, if you want to in crypto, you know, just have different avenues and divide your portfolio, you know. So I've honestly learned this over time. Yeah. It's taken time. You know, when your money is compounding, your money has to make money, right? Absolutely. So I'm still learning the game of how that happens. But yeah, while I do that, I make money and I save a lot of money and I enjoy life as well, of course. I love to travel. I love to do things for my family. Of course, I don't have kids right now, so that's a big...
Oh, there is a guzzler.
Exactly.
No, but you're saving for that.
Yeah, I am. Exactly. Yeah. I have been for a very long time, you know, actually. So whenever that happens, inshallah.
Of course. Of course.
Yeah.
If you had to name one celebrity that makes you nervous, when you're going to embark on a project with her or him. Do you do guys also?
No.
Okay, so who makes you nervous? I don't mean like you don't like that person. What makes you feel like sit up straight? You know, like how a Mr. Bachchan would make everyone like feel like, okay, I gotta sit up straight and I gotta be like efficient.
I don't really nervous around anyone.
Yeah.
But you know, I would have to say, like, when I first started working with Katrina, I was a bit like that. Not anymore. Like, now she's a friend and it's easy.
Yeah.
But when I first started working with Katrina, she was a massive star. Like, to work with her, I remember I was like, oh God, like, I'm gonna do this. You know what I mean? And so loved. She's still so loved. But I think for a long time, there was a lot of love.
And she's a fast master, right? Rashia. She's a perfectionist.
100%.
I wants her to live.
I literally learned a lot from her over the years of working with her because she wants things done perfectly. Like, they have to be done in a certain way. She will make sure you do your best.
Yeah.
You know, she won't let you lax in any.
She grows and you grow as well along with her. Yeah. In that, right.
Exactly.
One thing you've learned from Kareena?
To have fun while you're working, you know. I think she is like a joy rally. Yes, so she will make sure that we're working, everyone's work is done, and we're all very professional on set, and everything's done. But while you're doing that, you're having fun.
Majja.
Yeah.
Then Sarah, what have you learned from her?
Sarah, interesting. Lots of things. I think being spontaneous.
Okay.
Yeah.
From John
Wow. This is a very interesting question because I feel like I need to think about it, you know, a little bit. I think from John B, I learned how to be. She's somebody who's constantly thinking and she loves to create things, you know. So when I used to work with her, we used to be very creative. We used to create things from scratch. Maybe not wear things that are available already, lookbooks or etc. She'd be like, let's create something, you know, new. And so I think she's a lot like her mom, actually. Yeah, her mom was like that. Her mom, I think I learned elegance from her mom. Yeah, for sure. Because Sridevi was like the epitome of elegance, right? So I used to learn that. And I was very young when I started working with her. So she would teach me that let's not overdo the look. Like pull one thing out, you know. Let's do one statement jewelry instead of doing 2-3 things. So I think I learned that from Vish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Lastly, what do you see currently trending at the moment in terms of
Styles or colors or
even colors? Let's
I
say
think
colors.
like a mocha brown is fully trending right now. So like a lot of like tone on tone stuff, like co-op sets or whether it's dresses, oversized blazers. I think chocolate brown and like a mocha brown and like really like the quiet luxury version of like doing beautiful co-op sets or oversized blazers with pants or shift dressing or
The blazers have really come back
yes.
in a very big way.
Yeah, in different silhouettes, like a double-breasted blazer, which is super oversized with like a beautiful long shift dress or a silk dress inside. But I think neutral in terms of colors, like the mocha brown is apparently the Pantone of 2025. Yeah.
Oh, very interesting.
It's the Pantone color of next year, which is basically the Indian skin tone.
Yeah, that's amazing. And anyway, the South Asian beauty and the concept of it has exploded.
Yes. Thank you so much. No, thank you. This has been lovely. Yeah.
I've come with a lot of information.
Awesome. I'm happy. I'm elated. Thank you so much.